pain is modern. The cure is ancient. 5 forgotten truths that turn heartbreak into transformation. After my breakup, I spent 3 weeks checking her Instagram every hour. Then I found what the Stoics wrote about this exact spiral 2,000 years ago. The obsessive thoughts. The gut punch when you see them with someone new, feeling completely erased. Here's what shocked me. Marcus Aurelius, Buddha, and Confucius all described this exact pain. Word for word. They knew the cure too. I'm going to show you 5 ancient practices that pulled me out of the 3 a.m. spiral. Not philosophy, actual techniques. The first one stops the obsessive thoughts in 60 seconds. The last one completely changed how I see relationships. Let's start with the most powerful one. The Stoics called it the dichotomy of control. Here's how it works. You can't heal while trying to control what's not yours. Here's the brutal truth about why you're still suffering. It's not because they left. It's because you're still trying to control them after they're gone. You check if they viewed your story. You analyze their new profile picture. You replay conversations looking for clues about what went wrong. Every single one of those actions is you trying to control something that was never yours to control. The Stoics had a name for this. The dichotomy of control. They divided everything into 2 categories. Things you control, your thoughts, your actions, your response. Things you don't. Their feelings, their choices. Whether they come back. Here's the practice that saved me. When you catch yourself spiraling about them, stop. Ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, you say out loud, not mine to carry. Then you do one thing that is in your control. Push-ups, cold water on your face. Text a friend, 60 seconds. That's all it takes to break the loop. That's the first truth. Control what's yours, release what isn't. But here's where it gets deeper. The Stoics understood control. Buddha understood why we can't let go in the first place. Attachment is the chain that keeps the heart in pain. The Stoics showed you what to release. But Buddha understood why you can't. Here's what I realized at 3 a.m. scrolling through our old photos. I wasn't missing her. I was missing the version of me that existed when she loved me. That's what Buddha called attachment. Not love, attachment. You wrapped your identity around them so tightly that when they left, you didn't know who you were anymore. Your happiness became their responsibility. Your worth became their opinion. That's why it hurts so much. Buddha taught that suffering comes from clinging, not from caring. The difference, clinging says, I need you to be happy. Caring says, I want good things for you, even if that doesn't include me. One makes you a hostage, the other sets you free. Here's how I practice this. Every time I felt that crushing wave of missing her, I didn't fight it. I said out loud, this is attachment speaking. Then I asked, what does caring look like right now? Sometimes it meant hoping she was happy. Sometimes it meant going to the gym so I could be healthy. It took 3 weeks before the waves got smaller, but they did. That's the second truth. Release attachment, keep caring. But knowing this intellectually doesn't make it easier. That's where the third ancient practice comes in. The one that gave me a reason to keep going. You're not lost, you're being initiated. Week 2 after the breakup, I woke up and didn't recognize my own life. My routines were gone, my plans were gone. I felt like I was floating in nothing. Then I found what the Stoics wrote about this exact feeling. They had a name for it. The space between deaths and rebirths. You're not lost. You're in transition. The person you were when you were with them, that version is gone. The person you're becoming, not here yet. You're in between. And that in-between space feels like drowning because you have nothing to hold on to. Marcus Aurelius wrote, what stands in the way becomes the way. Here's what that actually means. The breakup didn't interrupt your growth. It is your growth. Every skill you need for the next chapter of your life, you're learning right now. How to sit with discomfort, how to rebuild from nothing, how to trust yourself when everything feels uncertain. Here's the practice that changed everything for me. Every night for 2 weeks, I wrote down one thing the breakup forced me to learn that day. Day 3, I learned I can cook for myself. Day 7, I learned I can handle being alone on a Friday night. Day 14, I learned my worth doesn't come from being chosen. By the end, I had 14 pieces of evidence that I was becoming someone stronger. Not someday, right now. That's the third truth. Your pain is your initiation. But there's still one question that keeps you up at night. The one that makes all of this feel impossible. That's what the fourth ancient practice addresses. Real love needs air to breathe. Month 3, after the breakup, my friend asked me what I liked to do for fun. I froze. I couldn't answer. I'd spent 2 years doing what she wanted to do, watching what she wanted to watch, going where she wanted to go. I didn't know who I was without her preferences defining me. That's what happens when you make someone else the center of your life. You don't just lose the relationship, you lose yourself. Your hobbies became their hobbies. Your Friday nights became their plans. Your identity became their opinion of you. And now they're gone. And you're standing in an empty room wondering who you even are. Confucius taught that a tree with strong roots can weather any storm. But if you wrap your roots around another tree, when that tree falls, you fall with it. Your identity can't depend on someone else choosing you. It has to come from something deeper, something that exists whether they're there or not. Here's what I did. I made a list of 3 things I gave up for the relationship. Mine were playing guitar, Thursday basketball with friends, and reading before bed. Then I committed to doing 1 per week for a month. Week 1, I picked up my guitar. It felt awkward. Week 2, I showed up to basketball. Week 3, I read for 30 minutes. By week 4, I remembered what my own voice sounded like. Not the version that tried to fit their world, my actual voice. That's the fourth truth. Reclaim yourself before you share yourself. But there's one final practice, the one that ties everything together. The one that determines whether you repeat this pattern or break it forever. The most powerful comeback is becoming who you were meant to be. Month 6 after the breakup, I ran into her at a coffee shop. My hands didn't shake, my heart didn't race. I said hi. We talked for 2 minutes, and I walked away feeling nothing. Not anger, not longing, nothing. That's when I knew I'd rebuilt something she could never touch again. The hardest part wasn't losing her. It was the voice in my head that said, if you were enough, she would have stayed. That voice turned every rejection into evidence, every unanswered text into proof. Every time she chose someone else, it confirmed what I feared most. I wasn't lovable. Epictetus wrote, first, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Here's what that actually means. Your worth can't come from someone choosing you. It has to come from you choosing yourself every single day, through actions that prove to you that you're the person you want to be, not for them, for you. Here's the practice that ties everything together. Every morning for 30 days, I did one thing from each of the 4 techniques we covered. I used the 60-second reset when obsessive thoughts started. I practiced the observation technique when attachment waves hit. I wrote in my initiation journal what I learned that day. And I did one activity from my reclamation list. By day 30, I had 30 pieces of evidence that I could trust myself. That's how you rebuild worth, not through belief, through proof. That's the 5th truth. Your worth is built through daily proof. Now, let me show you how to make this permanent. You're not broken. You're becoming unstoppable. Remember that coffee shop moment I mentioned? 6 months earlier, I would have spiraled for days if I'd seen her. But I didn't, because I'd done the work. The 60-second resets, the observation practice, the initiation journal, the reclamation list, the daily proof protocol. Every single day for 180 days. Here's what the ancients taught me. Control what's yours. Release what isn't. Love without clinging. Pain is initiation, not punishment. Reclaim yourself before sharing yourself. Build worth through daily proof. 5 truths, 4 techniques, 1 commitment. Choose yourself every single day. If you're in the middle of this right now, start with the 60-second reset. Try it once today. Then come back and tell me in the comments which of the 5 practices you're committing to first. And subscribe, because I'm breaking down more ancient wisdom every week for people who refuse to stay broken. You're not the person who got broken up with anymore. You're the person who chose to rebuild. The work begins now.